is KLEAN Radio.
Hi, everybody. You're listening to KLEAN Radio. My name is Erica Spiegelman. I'm in for Judah Friedman tonight. We are a radio talk show about addiction and mental health issues. And tonight, my co-host is Andrew Spanswick.
Thank you, Erica.
Yeah.
Good to have you here instead of Judah. I have to say, this is Judah's sober birthday. So he went to a meeting instead of doing the show. This is the first show he's missed in 4 seasons.
Well, I'm honored to be filling in. That's a big one. He hasn't missed any.
You also have to be able to do the Judah.
I will do the best impersonation I can.
You have to do your best Judah you can.
I will do it.
That's a high bar to get over.
I know, but I've been practicing.
Okay,
I've been practicing. We'll see. We'll see what the callers have to say.
Yeah, right? Exactly.
Yeah. So, wow. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I've been traveling a lot. I've been doing a lot of stuff in New York City, and I'm just back in town for a couple of days, and I'm off to Scotland, and then I'll be back. And we got our chief operating guy from Washington, our facility up there down here. We'll bring him in the second half of the show.
Fantastic.
We can talk about some stuff that's going up in the Northwest with the company and with treatment and what we're doing up there that's different than in the rest of the world.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
So, yeah.
We got a lot going on in the past couple weeks in terms of the news. There we have a mayor that has been putting himself out there, sharing what he's been up to, and
right,
I think
the return of Chris Farley from the dead. Right?
Yeah. Has anybody heard of this mayor that's finally admitting that
Ford?
They're calling him Mayor McCrack because he's been,
Mayor Toronto, Mayor McCrack. Yeah. Not so good for Toronto, I guess.
No,
I don't know.
Yeah,
that you'd expect that from Detroit across the river, but not from Toronto.
But in Canada, even in Vancouver, Toronto, there's a big epidemic going on over there with crack cocaine.
Well, it's everywhere.
Yeah, it is everywhere.
Yeah. So,
but Canada is still off the grid a little bit. They haven't really been discussing as much.
Do you think people want like crazy politicians? Like, it just seems to me like every politician in the world out there, like, I mean, Marion Barry was like, he's just like the copycat of Marion Barry. He's like,
I know. Well, as Rand, our producer, just shared with us, his approval ratings are up now.
I know they've gone up since he admitted he smoked crack.
Yeah.
It's
so
like, wow.
There you go. I think we do want our politicians to be a little bit more human and relatable.
It's 46%. How do you end up getting a 46% approval rating when like you're talking about killing people on video and then smoking? I guess I smoke crack. If you got it on video, yeah, I smoke crack. It's like, oh, geez, really? He's like, but I don't have a problem.
He's a character. He is a character.
Yeah, right. Well, yeah. What's the average Toronto person doing these days, right? It's like, crack in the morning. Welcome to crack in the morning. I don't know. Crazy world. Crazy world.
Crazy world. Yeah.
Let's give it our number because we got a lot of calls coming in last week, and we already got calls lining up today. I encourage people to call early today because we actually left a lot of people off the air last time, and I hate to not answer people's calls because we are here to talk about helping people and talk about also the positive things about recovery when people get through addiction and how they do well once they're sober.
The life after, all of that. Yeah, you can reach us at 888-222-5222. Also, you could find us at facebook.com/KLEAN Radio. Ask us anything that you would like to know about addiction or, if you have family members, you have any questions, concerns, comments. We're here to discuss ways in which to heal also. So we're open. We're open.
I think you might just have taken Judah's job.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, that was great.
Good. Yeah. Good. I'll keep doing it. And I'll come back anytime. Sorry, Judah.
So do you think this mayor actually is a functioning addict? I mean,
I would absolutely.
If he hadn't been caught, on tape, would people just think he was just kind of like out there and...
In my opinion, when I saw him for the first time and when he was speaking, I mean, it dawned on me that he actually, I think, is physically addicted to drugs because his even the capillaries on his face, his skin, he doesn't look healthy physically.
Right.
He was sweaty and shaky. I mean, I think he's probably addicted, but just
I think that was like his wife seeing the video. Like,
no,
I made him look.
No.
Capillaries busted on his face.
I don't think so. I think that happened a while before, but I'm sure a couple more busted after that.
Yeah, I'm sure. Probably more than we want to know.
Yeah, really.
Why don't we jump into a call? We got a call already from Todd in Oregon.
Hi, Todd.
I got to turn him on here. Hold on. Hey, Todd.
Hi, Todd.
Welcome to KLEAN Radio.
It's T-O-double-D coming out of the cuckoo's nest.
Oh, yeah. How you doing, man? We talked last week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I seen a really cool, a little preview thing of lifting the stigma of mental illness on CNN last Thursday.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, I didn't see that.
Noon.
Yeah.
What did you get from it?
Well, there's a book called Asylum, or maybe it's a documentary by Joe Pantoliano.
Pantaleone.
Yeah.
A Sopranos star.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And also there's a Boise, Idaho writer named Liza Long, and her son terrifies her with mental illness, and she wrote a book called I Am Adam Lanza's Mother.
Yeah, Joe is actually a member of the LA sober community, and he's around here a lot in LA, and he's a good guy, and he's put a lot of stuff together. So
Adam Lanza, I remember that the name. That was the guy that what happened with Adam Lanza?
He went and shot up that school in Connecticut.
Right. That shooting, yeah. There's a lot going on in terms of mental health awareness these days. I mean, whether it's CNN doing a piece on it or people writing books about it,
Well, I think finally people are starting to put together that, it's not just guns, it's mental health as well. And, a lot of my recent CNN appearances have been about that. I've been trying to tell people, look, you can keep saying that it's, AR-15s.
Right.
I'm like, but, the other people shoot people with shotguns or they're making bombs. I mean, it's just, and if somebody wants to kill somebody, they're going to kill them. And, well, we should probably have some sort of better screening and training for people that have guns.
Right.
The whole idea that this crisis that we're having is related to a criminal justice issue is just not right.
There has to be awareness for both. You know?
I mean, if you look at the number of mentally ill people that have gone from institutional long-term psychiatric hospitals to prison, they've inversed as the beds have decreased in hospitals and increased in basically prisons. So we now have one psychiatrist for over every 200 plus people in prisons that have a psychiatric illness, and the guards and people aren't trained how to deal with them.
Right.
I've been in prison too, here in Oregon, and their mental health system is really good.
Is it?
Well, Oregon's actually probably the most progressive state in terms of treatment and the different state treatments. They have a really good program. In Massachusetts, actually, is probably second in terms of state government trying to retake control of mental health care and medical care in general and cut costs, but also provide more access and early intervention.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I got in a scuffle here and assaulted someone. They gave me a measure 11, so I went from here to prison and did 6 years, and then they had a hold on me, so I came back here. And, they're trying to say that I wasn't mentally ill then, but now I am mentally ill again, so they don't want to let me go or give me a full discharge or anything. So, that's what kind of irks me is that there's all these other people out there that are having signs and really sick, and then here I'm sitting in here with 2 or 3 years of clear conduct, and I can't get out of here.
Yeah, so you're in Oregon. So do you have an attorney?
Yeah, he represents everybody for the Psychiatric Security Review Board. It's a psychiatric panel, so when you plead the guilty except insanity, you have to go before them, and they're really strict.
Right. Well, in some ways that's bad. In some ways that's good. The real question is, are you getting adequate care? And that's the thing that I always worry about the most. Most people in the United States want to just have the problem of mental illness go away, and substance abuse just go away. Either they're in denial that it's a problem, or they don't think that they should have to deal with it, and they certainly want it to disappear one way or the other.
Right. Todd,
they want me to do like 2 years of clear conduct and then go before the panel, and they have to bear the burden of evidence instead of me or whatever. So.
Todd, have you abused substances, or have you been addicted? Okay.
Yeah, I started on alcohol when I was about 13, drinking 40 ounces, and then I was a pro calf roper for 5 years, so I was going all over the place. I went down to Texas and got on meth, prope dope, and really it only took me 4 months to go really crazy.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the interesting things about meth, and a warning for people out there is that unlike things like alcohol, I mean, there's some people that will drink alcohol and immediately just become alcoholic and out of control.
Right, absolutely.
They have a really strong genetic predisposition to alcoholism. But normally there's also progressive alcoholism where people slowly become more and more addicted over time, and it can take up to 30 years sometimes before they realize they have a problem. The average onset's about 7 years. But meth has an onset where people bottom out within 6 months. And so, you know, if they start really using heavily, they end up having drug-induced psychoses and all sorts of other problems, health problems.
Which is hallucinations, thinking you're, you know.
Yeah, right.
All my family and friends don't even, they don't, I'm not the same person that I used to be. They don't hardly, you know, they've had to get to know me differently. And all the friends I made in prison just love me and stuff, but you know, as far as my old friends, it's like they're like I totally roasted my friendship with them. So
you know, that's something you can earn back, though. You know, I've always, you know, people are very forgiving once you prove yourself, and trust once you lose it is a hard thing to get back. And a lot of people are very angry at people that abuse substances because they feel so helpless to really help the person. And then also a lot of people are uneducated about the fact that a lot of these problems are not just self-induced, but also are part of a disease.
Right.
So
it's education for your family and friends, and maybe you could give them some books to read or some kind of information so that they could try to understand what you've been going through, what you are going through, and where you're going to be going, you know.
I think the people that are mad at me are dyslexic, so I don't even know if they can read.
Oh, well, they'll have to take some courses.
We're not a show about dyslexia.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you, Todd. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, thanks for calling in, Todd, and hope you're doing better, okay?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Todd. Yeah, so he had some good points. But everyone that's listening out here, just to let you know, you're listening to KLEAN Radio, and you can give us a call at 888-222-5222, and you could find us at facebook.com/KLEAN Radio. We'd love to take your calls tonight. Any questions, comments, concerns, and we stream live every Sunday night from 6 to 7.
Yeah, you can go to
Pacific Standard Time.
KLEANradio.com and actually see us live in the studio. And then about Thursday, the show actually re-airs on the web, and then you can watch it in perpetuity if you want.
However many times
you want to watch Erica do better than Judah on his magic night. He's going to kill me for this. He's going to come back in, right? He's going to go, what do you mean?
He said, I have a big night tonight. Can
I've done
you come
every
in?
show for 3 years, and you throw me under the bus.
I know. So let's talk about Miley Cyrus a little bit.
Oh,
I just like to talk
Justin
about
Bieber,
her.
you mean?
Yeah, Justin Bieber. So she's singing about Molly again.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been, she's glorifying this party drug called Molly. So for those of you out there, if you want to call in and ask us questions about Molly, if any of you parents have questions about it, if you don't know what it is, we can, discuss that a little bit. But a lot of young people are taking this party drug at raves, concerts, other venues, and also all of our pop stars now are singing about this drug. So what do you think about that?
I think it's just marketing, and unfortunately, it's the hot thing to talk about.
Right.
The thing that's really strange for me is that, we don't even know what Molly is. Everybody thinks it's pure MDMA, which is practically impossible to get because that only comes from like one tree in like Brazil, and they've got they're people are guarding these trees because they're like endangered. So,
where are these trees? Yeah.
So,
no, but
yeah. So
but I think that is the misconception that's going on. I mean, in terms of people are, everyone's normalizing it because it's supposedly a safe drug.
Well, it's the idea that it's pure MDMA, and MDMA used to be legal, and so it's probably fine.
Right.
And the truth of the matter is it's cut. It's like ecstasy became, when you first got ecstasy back in the 80s, not to date myself, but...
You're not dating yourself.
I know, that would be too incestuous. Anyway.
I was hanging out in the 80s,
Okay,
too.
all right, okay. I mean, you don't look a day over 14.
No.
Anyway, that's why you know so much about Molly Cyrus. Anyway, Miley Cyrus.
We should call her Molly.
Yeah, right? Anyway, so what on earth was I talking about?
You were talking about back in the 80s.
Back in the 80s. That's why I forgot. Yeah. So anyway, so ecstasy, at first it had a fair amount of MDMA in it. And in fact, you used to be able to buy it over the counter in drugstores, and then they made it illegal. And but it had a fair amount of MDMA, and then they figured out, as all drug dealers do, that why not cut it with cheaper substances?
Right, of course.
And so you get a lot of speed and heroin, and there's all sorts of a whole panoply of other drugs that get stick into those tablets. And when I was in London recently, they were showing me how they had ecstasy samples where they would cut them in half with a razor blade, and then they would put speed in it and take out part of the drug and put speed in the middle, and they'd glue it back together with super glue.
Oh my God.
And then that's what people were taking.
Oh my God.
Right? It's just like,
well,
so,
I can
if you want
imagine.
super glue pills,
Right.
that's
There
a good
you
way to go.
I know. It's unbelievable too, because no one knows how much of what they're getting. Even if it's cut with speed or it's cut with, other kinds of drugs, nobody really knows if it's more heroin, more speed, what you're really getting. And some people's systems react differently. And that's why we have a lot of people overdosing on these drugs.
But the same thing, we have the same problem with prescription drugs. As much as I like to say, that's absolutely a huge risk factor.
Yeah.
It's funny how even when prescription drugs come out, I would see people out on the street taking Xanny bars, which, are like 5 times the normal starting dose of Xanax, and not think anything of it.
Right.
So people that are drug addicts are inclined to just try and get as high as possible. Will even overdo really regulated and dosed drugs, because they don't know what the drug addict level of the drug is to take. They just want to get higher and or feel less or disappear or whatever they're looking for. So,
right.
Yeah.
I mean, well, that's all my clients that are coming in. That's exactly what's happening. People don't understand that, your tolerance gets better and better. Your tolerance gets higher and higher. It grows. Yeah. And then all of a sudden you're taking 10 to 20 pills and you're physically in a really bad way. So this has been going on for a long time. Epidemic.
I'd like to, we'd love to hear from some people out there about tolerance and their experiences. One of the things I like to hear about is people that went to college and drank a lot and then stopped drinking, because there's been a lot of people talking about how moderation management's like the new thing, and that maybe we shouldn't just push towards abstinence, but people,
What do you think about that? I personally don't think that that's really a good option for most people.
Well,
honestly,
being in the rehab industry, I guess I should say that it's definitely not. But I think that the reality is that most people are able to manage their drinking or drug use, and they do coming out of college. If you look at drug use in college, it's about 80 to 85%, and binge drinking is way up there.
Way up there, yeah.
So most people will actually age out of that. That doesn't mean there aren't consequences while they're doing it.
Right.
So at that point, I'd rather look at it like a health model. Are you engaging in healthy behavior versus unhealthy behavior?
Right.
And then there's that portion of the population that will never get past that. They'll just escalate more and more into addiction and using other drugs and just trying to find something to feel normal.
Yeah, well, I like what you said with the trauma that actually comes from people creating their own negative consequences. You get a DUI here, you yell at your girlfriend here, you fight with your parents, and then all of a sudden you're using substances to cope with that stress and that anxiety.
Yeah,
so
it all plays into it.
It's a big cycle, yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely something where you think you're doing better and you're helping yourself, and you're not at all. You're just
right.
And it's weird because our culture in America doesn't really understand how to use drugs properly, or how to we don't have it institutionalized.
Is there a proper way?
Well, I think there is. I think there's some cultures that have instituted the use of psychedelics and other drugs into their religion, and they're highly ritualized, and they use them once a year. And it just seemed the French used to be more moderate in their drinking.
I was going to say the Italians and the French too.
Right, but now they're becoming more binge drinkers like Americans mostly because of advertising and movies and stuff like that.
Right. I just want to let everybody and everyone that's listening right now, if you want to give us a call, please do so. We're waiting for your calls. You can find us at 888-222-5222. You could reach us at 888-222-5222. Also Facebook.com/KLEAN Radio. And we're at KLEANradio.com worldwide live video stream. So, we're here to talk about addiction and mental health issues tonight, and anything that comes with that.
We seem to be talking a lot about legalization, and we'd love to hear from people about their views. Do you agree with the legalization? Do you not agree with legalization? Is there a difference between marijuana and other drugs?
Also, another topic just to throw out there for anybody that wants to to give us their opinion. People are saying that sugar and Oreos and cookies, there's a lot of articles about this recently coming out, that it is as addictive as cocaine or other stimulants, and that, I think there's a lot of studies about how the brain reacts to sugar in that way.
I think it's true, but for me, it's more an issue of consequences. Like, what's the issue of doing cocaine versus eating 20 Oreos?
Well, I think there's different consequences in different ways. For sure.
Fat guy in a little coat. I had to throw that in once.
Yes. We were talking before the show about the mayor that's been, dabbling with crack, and he's been, the media has been comparing him to Chris Farley, and so we were just talking about.
So we're joking about Chris Farley. We got a call. Let's talk to Anna.
Yeah.
Welcome to Clean Radio, Anna. How are you tonight?
Hi, Anna.
It's Ann, and
I'm sorry, Ann. I'm losing my eyesight. I need to get some glasses. I've been putting it off for a couple of years here. It's getting to the point where it's now becoming ridiculous.
It happens. I called in last week, right at the very end of the show, before I got up my courage.
Oh, that's right. I remember you have cancer, right? And been taking oxycodone.
Right. You're hitting right on topic that I had wanted to talk about, kind of the difference. If you could maybe talk a little bit about the difference between tolerance, when that becomes, because building up tolerance is a normal, natural thing, but at some point it becomes kind of dependent. When I've spoken to my doctor about that, and at what point, I'm concerned about having gone on the oxycodone, and
well, let me just.
The doctor just kind of says if you take it according to directions, you won't get addicted.
No, well, that's not true.
I know.
Yeah. I mean, the reality is, if you take an opioid, you're going to become addicted physically. Right. The question is, how badly are you going to become addicted physically? And that depends on the person. So the other thing is, it may be that you're not ever going to go off it. So therefore, it doesn't really matter. Then it's just an issue of moderating how much you take as much as possible, so you don't end up having to take enormous doses just to relieve yourself from the pain of cancer. So, I always tell people, if you're prescribed something, take it, not maybe as prescribed, especially a painkiller, but maybe try and do it a little less than prescribed and see what you can get away with, and really work with trying to monitor your pain in other ways than just medication.
And if you become a little bit, scared, mentally, I think people are so reliant on, their painkillers in order, because they don't want to feel pain, they don't want to be in pain. So, try to wean down a little bit and see how you're doing mentally, I think, and emotionally. I think check in with yourself.
Yeah, I think one of the scary things about oxycodone is it can really kind of make you foggy. So, and
that's a real problem.
Yeah, and it doesn't really take away the pain. It just makes you think about the pain in a different way. So, but that's what it was made to do. So, and you're the person it was made to work for. So I don't think you should feel guilty about it, but I think you should have what I think you already have, which is a cautionary awareness about the use of it. And, it's a little disappointing that a doctor would tell you that, for you to come off it, you're never, ever going to possibly have side effects. But a lot of people go on morphine and they go on oxycodone for back injuries or things like that heal, or they get cancer and they go into remission. They're able to come off the medication and they can detox off it. So, the important thing is that you're comfortable, but also that you're having a good quality of life while you're using the medication. You don't want to be, overburdened or, over sedated or driving or doing any inappropriate behavior when you're on a medication that affects your judgment.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't want any negative consequences and then feel bad about that. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But how do you distinguish between the tolerance buildup and
when you're actually dependent?
If you're actually becoming dependent, I would imagine that makes you just
try skipping a few doses, and if you start feeling nauseous, sweaty, if you start feeling really uncomfortable or itchy,
I can't get up and walk around if I skip it.
Yeah,
I can go without it.
So part of that's the pain. You have a complicated case. You're not like really, you're really a medical case, not an addiction case. And that's one thing that I think that enough people don't really understand about chronic pain and medication.
Well, doctors don't understand. I mean, obviously.
Well, they're getting better. I think people are getting better at it. But for a long time, there was a reluctance from doctors to prescribe pain pills because of the fear of being sued or for malpractice for over-medicating people,
right.
And then leaving them with an addiction. Lately, there's been laws passed saying that doctors actually have to prescribe pain medication, but it's still highly regulated. So there's still a lot of confusion within the medical community as to the proper use of the dose and type of pain medication that should be used. And unfortunately, we haven't developed really good pain medications yet that are non-addictive.
Right.
So opiates are still the best choice for really severe pain.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, at the risk of sounding really stupid here, but is there any way to kind of mitigate some of that addictive potential nutritionally or behaviorally?
No, there's nothing you can do other than trying to keep your dose as low as possible for as long as possible.
Yeah, you can't counteract it with good nutrition.
Yeah, no, you just
it's wishful thinking. It's good thinking.
You know, it's so funny. There's so many people who believe that. They think if they drink wheatgrass, it will flush their body of the toxins, and then they won't have the same problem with the drug. And that just doesn't, the drugs don't work that way. They're just targeting a very specific part of your brain. So, wheatgrass isn't going to do anything to that part of what's going on with your brain and how that chemical is directly affecting your dopamine release.
Right.
So,
but it still may be good for you,
Yeah, you might want some wheatgrass anyway, but it may help with the cancer more than the opiates.
Thanks, Ann, for calling in. We appreciate it.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks for being a loyal listener.
Yeah. So if you're in your car or at home tonight or just walking around and you're listening to us right now, if you have any questions about addiction issues or anything we've been talking about, please give us a call at 800-222-5222. You're listening to KLEANradio.com. We're at Facebook.com/KLEAN Radio. We will be back after the break with a special guest, right, Andrew?
We have a special guest from Washington, and we also have calls lining up, so give us a call and get in the queue.
Thanks.
Are you or someone you care about addicted to drugs or alcohol? Addiction ruins lives and destroys families. Bring an end to the pain and suffering by calling KLEAN Treatment Centers. KLEAN has helped people from around the world break free by not only treating the addiction, but the underlying causes and providing vital aftercare so people can get clean and stay clean with no gimmicks and no false promises. If you need immediate assistance or just have questions, call KLEAN Treatment Centers for guidance. A much better life awaits.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. This is Erica Spiegelman. I'm in tonight for Judah Friedman, and I'm with the wonderful Andrew Spanswick.
Oh, really? Nobody's ever called me wonderful in at least 6 years.
Wonderful. We're on Talk Radio 790, KABC, and iHeartRadio for all of you that would like to know that. We're on FM News 101, KXL in Portland, Oregon, and AM 1370, KAST in Astoria, Oregon. Every week, we're worldwide live video stream at KLEANradio.com. You could reach us tonight at 888-222-5222 and at Facebook.com/KLEANradio. We're the show about addiction and mental health issues.
Wow.
And we're going to be discussing all of them tonight.
And Erica is just doing great.
Yeah.
We have a special guest tonight, Milt Parham, who is running our facility up in Washington State in Long Beach. Welcome, Milt. How are you?
Welcome.
Thank you. I'm doing well. Glad to be here.
Milt's got a little media fear, I think. He's
a great radio voice.
Right? He does. Maybe he's got a new calling here.
I like it. Let's hear it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Say I don't know, drugs are bad.
Anything he says we'll do.
Let's jump right into a call, and then we're going to talk to Milt, and Milt can give his opinion as well about what we do up in Washington at KLEAN in Washington, Long Beach. Let's take Tommy from Oregon. Tommy, how are you doing?
Hey,
Welcome
Tommy.
to KLEAN Radio.
Hi, how's it going?
Good.
I'm doing all right. Well, listen, I'm a hitchhiker. I'm just traveling through, and I happen to be here in Portland, Oregon this evening, and listening to your radio station on my phone.
Wow.
That's cool.
And it kind of interests me because along the path that I've been hitchhiking along, I've noticed the progression of a lot of opiate use, and it kind of saddens me because the drug itself just takes you to another world where that's all that they desire in their entire life.
Right.
Yeah.
And I've seen the full-blown effects of an opiate addiction, and it's very sad. But on the same hand, I'm sorry.
Go
On
ahead.
the same hand, my father is a long-term legal pill user. He goes through pain management, but he's abusing 2 of them at the same time, which he knows that he's not supposed to. But he takes his medication a little too much, and he's been on them for the past about 7 or 8 years, ever since he had complete knee replacement surgery. And then he had...
That sounds a little bit long. Yeah, normally like 6 months would probably be the max.
Well, that's just the thing, is the immediate effect of him starting on the opiate pills, or the pills themselves, it drove him into finding other ways of obtaining these because they ended his medication.
Yeah, a lot of people actually switch to heroin because they buy the drugs on the street and then they find out it's too expensive and they find out that heroin's cheaper. Not that I should be telling everybody that.
Right,
but
a lot of people
that's what we
do
see.
that.
And that's how a lot of people end up on heroin. Right.
Yeah.
So,
I'm thankful that he hasn't gone through it. I mean, he still just stays with his pills, but the fact that he keeps injuring himself or making things up sometimes about his pain and keeps going on that everything's chronic, and it's really not. He doesn't want to give up the pills.
Right.
So
I imagine my question is what would be the best thing that I can do to relate to him about his desire to sustain this addiction?
So I mean, you're talking about intervention. Milt, you deal with this all the time, right? You have people calling and their family members addicted to something, and you have to deal with them. What's your general recommendations?
We would suggest that you take some time, talk to one of our intake people, where they could spend some time, get some very specific information, and possibly even talk to your dad about his addiction. He may be willing to talk to someone other than family who's not going to judge him.
Right.
And be more open to that.
Right. I would address him in a really empathetic way, just say, I understand you've been on this a while. It must be tough. Would you like to talk to someone about it?
I mean, that is one thing that's pretty...
The thing is, me, myself, I do understand, and I am empathetic because I've been there and I've done that, but I never let it progress to where it became the only thing that I needed every day in order to get going. And
I mean, I don't know your father, but I tend to find with older patients that they tend to be replacing other losses in life with opiates. Most people that are addicted to opiates are trying to avoid some sort of pain. Either it's physical or especially emotional.
Trauma, emotional.
Yeah, and so they're, dulling some sort of pain. So I don't know what your father's situation is, or besides the knee injury, but he's probably now coping with other issues in his life with the medication. It's not about the knee anymore. So, you might be wanting to be looking at, what are the underlying issues as to why you think he might be taking opiates and, what might be really upsetting him.
And now that there's been so much time that's passed, too, yeah.
Yeah, that's the sad part is that, he has a wonderful family. His wife, she's a head dietitian at a hospital. She's won numerous awards. His daughter just going to Virginia Tech, my little sister, and my little brother's growing up and doing great. And, the whole family, these are my stepbrothers and sisters. This is another family my dad had started afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
And, but he's so blessed with a wonderful family. I mean, his wife can never do anything wrong. She's just, I don't know how God can never have anything against her. But, I mean, and then my little brother and sister are just so intelligent and bright and mature.
But
Tommy,
all that doesn't matter when somebody is really...
When they're addicted, yeah. So, but Tommy,
Tommy, you would be running from.
Tommy, you're really, you're a caring, empathetic person. You're probably too close to the situation to know, and that's why it's important to sometimes seek outside help.
Someone professional.
If you actually call our treatment line, which is 888-601-6040,
Let me grab a pen real quick. Can you repeat that? Hold on a second.
Sure. So, and I'll talk while you're looking for a pen. But what you can do is you can call our treatment line, and what happens is we have free intake advisors and just advisors in general, and they can help you figure out like what the issues might be, or get you help in a state that we don't have a treatment center, or help you hook up with a local therapist.
They're really informed people.
Yeah,
It would be great.
They know all the resources out there, and they can really help you out. You got that pen yet?
Yes, I do.
So it's
Go ahead.
It's 888-601. 6040 888-601-6040
6040.
Yeah.
And that's the direct treatment line, and there's someone there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, always ready to take your call.
Yeah.
Awesome. So you guys' general job is to try to help people on the streets, figure out what they're doing? I mean, because Portland seems very scary.
Yeah,
a lot
Milt,
of heroin going
we
on
got
here.
Milt treats most of our clients that come from Oregon up in Washington, right across the river.
We have treatment centers where he doesn't.
We're in LA, we're in Astoria, Oregon, and we're in Long Beach, Washington. So Milt,
as well as Bellevue, Washington.
Oh, Bellevue, Washington. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
In fact, we have a pain management group that we work with in Bellevue. But one of the things that you might want to talk about is an intervention for your dad, and we can help and assist in putting that together for you.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Yeah, Milt's good at that. If you want to call and if you talk to the treatment advisor, tell him you want to talk to Milt and leave your number, and then Milt can give you a call back tomorrow.
Definitely.
And I would be thrilled to do that.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Thank
All
you
right.
guys.
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you for
Tommy.
calling. Yeah.
Thank you.
Take care. I love that he's hitchhiking, has a cell phone. That's a new thing, I think,
He's
in the world,
hitchhiking
right?
his cell phone. He's kind of taking note of what's going on the streets. It'd be
Yeah.
actually very informative to talk to further.
I think you should write a book. Let's take another call. We got Heather from Vermont.
Hi, Heather.
Hey, Heather. How are you doing?
Hi, Heather.
I'm doing okay. I wanted to touch on a subject from that came up at the last show when the gentleman had called in about weight loss surgery, and you had made some comments, Andrew, on that. Because I was like, I should have called after that, because about 5 years ago I had lap band surgery.
Right.
And the reason I'm bringing up this time is that, this week it's sort of been in my face because it's been a couple of years since I've checked to see how things are going. Because, one of my goals is to, take better care of my health and find out where I'm at and, that kind of thing. And I'd had a physical, and they sent me to a gastrointestinal specialist, and I had to do a barium swallow on Monday, and then Wednesday I found out the results, which was good. It wasn't good. I wasn't happy with the result, but, upon reflection later, it could have been a lot worse. But basically, like, the valve between the stomach and the esophagus isn't working correctly, so I get acid reflux. And
that's actually one of the biggest problems with lap band, and it was actually more so with gastric bypass is reflux. And reflux acid reflux can cause all sorts of problems. It can cause sinus infections. It can cause
painful, huh?
Yeah, loss of being able to speak. You can get lesions. You can actually have bleeding from your esophagus and die. So these aren't things to take lightly. And a lot of people that go for lap band really don't understand that there are physical consequences to it other than losing weight. And that also that it's really still about dealing with moderating your eating and your what you eat and how much you eat. And people that don't do that part of it and just do the lap band, they end up trying to eat more than they can, and that actually causes the muscle in your esophagus to start becoming looser, and so you just more and more acid reflux, because basically you've replaced part of your esophagus with your stomach, and you're stretching out your esophagus, and it's becoming your stomach. If you're overeating beyond what you should with lap band.
I'm wondering, how are you doing psychologically and emotionally about all this?
Well, I'm doing better than I was on Wednesday because I'm like, okay, the good news is I didn't have band slippage. There are all these things that, I didn't have strictures or stinctures or whatever they're called.
So you found out physically you're doing better than you thought. So you're
it could have been worse than it is. I mean, they want to do additional testing, and in January I'm going to have a esophageal endoscopy and motility test.
Yeah, and they'll find out if there's any lesions or any problem at that point. I'm just glad that you listened to the show and that you decided to take care of yourself. It's really important. People are so willing to take care of other people, but sometimes they ignore themselves, and and you can get into a lot of trouble with that stuff. So
and it had come up because the same day that I found out the results, I also had got a very heartfelt message from my husband, and he said that he does want me to file for divorce. So,
wow, that's a lot. Well, that will give you acid reflux right there.
Thank you for calling tonight. We appreciate it.
You.
Take care and get some therapy. I always say when people are going through divorce, make sure you take care of yourself. If your husband wants divorce, make sure you line up what you need to line up, and especially if you have medical problems, check out what your insurance situation is, because you can really get left in the lurch there. So just look out for yourself, okay, Heather?
All right, thanks.
Okay.
For all of our callers out there too, if you want to give us a call tonight, our number is 888-222-5222. We're on KLEANradio.com, streaming worldwide live video, and you could find us at facebook.com/KLEANradio. So do we have any more callers?
Yeah, we got callers.
Good.
We got lots of callers.
Yeah.
I'll take Eric from Oregon. Hey, Eric, how are you doing? Welcome to KLEAN Radio.
How you doing? A very informative show.
Thank you.
I got a little story that maybe your listeners may find enlightening.
Okay.
Not mentioning names. My ex-girlfriend had major hot migraine headaches for years and years, and was taking some pharmaceutical pill through a doctor's order.
Right.
Like 3 to 4 a day. Well, one day her brother came by. He had a slight headache, and she was, just take one of these. He took one pill, and within half an hour, he was crashed on my couch for 12 hours in a comatose state.
Wow, yeah.
So tolerance is, you build tolerance. You just don't give that stuff out because who knows what's going to happen.
Well, it's scary how tolerant some people become, as you can tell.
It's also with addicts what happens, and unfortunately a lot of addicts will get treatment and then they'll go out and start using again after detoxing and not using for a little while, and they'll take the same amount they used to get high on, and they'll overdose because their tolerance is reduced.
Right.
It's just a very scary thing,
Yeah.
And people just don't know about it. They don't understand it. It's most people don't really understand the concept. They don't understand how it works with the body. And it's not like they're trying to be reckless. It's just that they don't know. But the bigger issue is, dealing with the underlying issues of why are people taking this stuff for non-medical reasons or in doses that are higher than they should be taking it. And I always tell people, if you'd been to a doctor and you had a problem and you're taking medication, and then you stop because you think you're better, and then you get sick again or feel bad, go back to the doctor. Don't just self-medicate yourself, even with medication that you've been medicated with before, because it might be very risky. And certainly do not be sharing your medications with other people.
Right.
I mean, that's actually one of the biggest problems we have right now in our culture is where kids are basically rating their
grandmothers, their mothers,
and there's people that actually go around, people are selling their house, and they'll go around and go into all the bathrooms and take all the pills out of the bathroom.
To sell them, or take them.
Yeah, or take them themselves.
Yeah.
So, it's just amazing how many of these drugs have hit the streets, and prescription drug abuse has become probably the leading problem besides alcohol and tobacco in the U.S.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you for the show. Very informative.
Thank you for calling.
Thanks for calling.
Appreciate it. You're listening to KLEAN Radio, and we have some callers tonight, but I just wanted to give out the number one more time. It's 888-222-5222. We're a show about addiction and mental health issues. So
we're in our last 10 minutes, so you should give us a call if you want to get in.
Yeah.
Milt, tell us a little bit more about Washington. What's special about up there? I mean, we've been very successful. You've been very successful. Gotten the company from zero to almost full in less than a year, and changed a lot of things of how treatment's delivered in the Northwest.
That's fantastic.
What's your secret sauce?
The secret sauce.
We've been so blessed in the community we're in. We're in Long Beach, Washington. The community has welcomed us in ways that just are pretty tremendous. We've been allowed to work with the local hospital. The local hospital has involved us in a number of their various programs that they're doing internally. The clinic in the community has involved us. The police department has looked for some participation over the holidays coming up in offering Clean Cab for
and
people.
explain what that
What
is.
is that exactly?
Clean Clean cab. People out drinking a bit
Clean
too
cab.
much.
Okay.
The last weekend before Christmas. Need a ride home, we'll pick them up.
Great idea.
Or Hanukkah, although it is
Hanukkah.
Washington, I don't know.
Or Kwanzaa.
Or Kwanzaa, right?
Whatever it
the holiday
is.
season.
We're going to pick them up, take them home.
Right.
That's great.
And just give them a little bit of information after we drop them off to read at their leisure about addiction and let them self-examine where they may be at with that.
I think that's great. And, one of the things that I think is really cool about KLEAN just in general and is that we do work so hand in hand with other groups. A lot of people in the addiction community, like, they want to own everything. They're like, oh, this is our rehab. It's all got to be here.
Right.
And, our company is very much about working with everybody that we can.
Right.
So, we have partnered up with the local emergency room. We have partnered,
wonderful.
we were talking about doing some medical detox with their swing beds up there, I believe. And we just opened an IOP in Bellevue. You want to tell people what an IOP is and what that's about?
Well, that's an intensive outpatient program, and one of the large pain management groups up there is looking at pain management as a way of addressing addiction as well before they'll admit someone into the pain management process. They're going to go through assessment and be tied into some just general addiction counseling to monitor where they're at with the meds they're taking.
That's so wonderful. There's really not a lot of that going on.
Yeah, we're actually trying to open up more IOPs that will then feed into our residential treatment centers because, it's addressing people at a different level of care.
Yeah, can you maybe explain to our listeners, for some people that don't understand the difference between an outpatient facility and an inpatient facility?
It's actually level of intensity of service. An outpatient, they would meet maybe 3 times a week after an assessment determining where they are.
And they don't live there, right? So that's the difference.
No, they only meet with the group maybe 3 times a week for 3 hours at a stretch. And if they get into trouble, it's a very easy way to spot when they are getting into trouble, refer them on to residential treatment.
Right. Well, they have a community to go to for the outpatient program, a community and therapy to be, they're part of both, right? The community, they have group therapy, individual therapy, and then for our inpatient, which we have inpatient and as well, yes.
And that's needed more for detox and then for people that have longer term problems and need more concentrated care. And sometimes people test outpatient and then they find that, I can't really manage myself on my own.
They need more intense
I need
care,
something more intensive. And so people will step up and step down. People will go into inpatient and then they'll go to outpatient to follow up.
Well, it's great that we have both.
We're in our last 5 minutes, guys. I can't believe how fast this show has gone. But I want to talk about the vets a little bit because it is Veterans Day that just is here, and
tomorrow
we're doing a lot. Yeah, we're doing a lot of work at KLEAN with veterans. In fact, we're starting a nonprofit organization called Bed for a Vet, and we're challenging every rehab in the country to give away a free bed to a veteran. Some of the things that have come out are just stunning. There's just a recent study that says there's a 270% increase in the past 12 years of opiate use by veterans.
Wow.
So this is just a huge sea change in the way that veterans are being treated, and they're being over-medicated, and a lot of them are having problems with PTSD, suicidal ideation, and addiction. And, the VA is swamped and underfunded, and I think they try to do the best they can, but us in the private sector and in the nonprofit sector of addiction, I think, can do a lot more. So we're going to be giving away a free bed at each of our residential facilities for a veteran. And over the next 12 months or so, we're going to be out there campaigning for every other rehab that exists to do the same thing. And hopefully that will add hundreds of beds and add more treatment for veterans out there in the market.
That's wonderful.
That is absolutely
what a blessing!
fabulous.
What a blessing for
Thank
people.
you.
Yeah.
It's an important thing, and I just don't quite get the whole VA thing.
It's like we have to take care of the people that have been fighting for our country, but yet somehow that seems to be where we're dropping the ball. and especially with, for me as a counselor, I mean, it's really important when I see people walking around. I live right by the VA in Brentwood, and I see people walking around that are clearly on something, addicted to something, and I wish I wish that they had someone to talk to or someone to process this with.
So we already have beds available. We have 2 right now because we're starting it.
Great.
So in our 2 residential facilities. So if there is somebody out there that's a veteran or a family member that has a veteran that's in trouble, they can use our services. We do have 2 free beds available. And the number to call them would be 888-601-6040. That's 888-601-6040. Or you can go to KLEANTreatmentCenter.com and see all our facilities. KLEANWashington.com as well, or KLEANWA.com.
Yeah.
So there's a lot going on with us. Check us out on Facebook. We got a lot of cool stuff happening on Facebook.
Facebook.com/KLEAN Radio.
Thank you, Judah.
Yes. And we're here every Sunday from 6 to 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, right?
Yeah.
And we always stream worldwide, a live video stream at KLEANRadio.com. And, you could find us every week.
Thanks for coming in, Milt. Milt, you got any last thing you want to say about Washington or what's going on? Or
Well, you mentioned real briefly about partnering. We have partnered with our community and a number of the surrounding communities. And
where most of the clients are coming from, Oregon and from Seattle areas?
They're coming from all over the Washington area, Portland, throughout Central Washington or Central Oregon, Idaho.
And really quickly, what do you think makes KLEAN Long Beach different from other rehabs out there?
I like to say that we're fortunate enough to have an absolutely caring staff.
That's great.
That's what makes it.
Well, it is all about staff. The building's a building, and you can buy a rehab, and with this, if the staff isn't any good, the rehab isn't any good.
The people give it the energy that it needs. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Oh, so Erica, this is your chance. You got a plug here.
I got a plug.
You get your plug.
Well,
you did the Judah.
I did.
So
I did the hard work, so now I get to plug my book.
You get to plug your book.
No,
Tell us about it.
Yeah, no, I wrote a book which will be out in the next couple months, but it's about how, it's about really how to rewire your brain to become more authentic, and I give people 10 core ways to do that and how to implement that in your life. I think, from being a counselor all these years and seeing how people really struggle with living an authentic life, I wanted to help people understand how we really can rewire our brains and form better habits in order to feel like we're living our truth and honoring who we truly are and that kind of thing. So that'll be out in the next month or 2. Maybe I'll come back and we'll talk about it further. But anyone that's listening out there could find more news about that at my website at erica.com, ericaspiegelman.com.
Erica.com, you got that? I'm like, wow.
I have that one, and I have, but the best one is ericaspiegelman.com.
You want to spell that for people?
Yes, it's ERICASPIEGELMAN.com.
And just like our
and
audience,
Twitter, Erica Spiegelman. So that's
she got it in the Twitter too.
Yeah.
I need more Twitter followers.
Oh, do you?
It's.
I'll call on my people to follow you.
It's at KLEAN CEO with a K.
Okay, good. We got to put that out there.
I only have 190,000. I'm trying to get to 200.
That's pretty good.
That's not bad, right?
That's pretty good.
And thank you so much for inviting me this evening.
Oh, you're more than welcome.
Thank you for coming on. Thank you for letting me talk about my book, and thank you for having me.
Yeah, and hey, everybody out there, if you missed Judah, write on Facebook that Judah should come back, and he can do his Judah dance on video.
And I'll come back anytime if you want to write that too.
Yeah, that'd be nice. And thank you, Milt. Really, our fans are great. Keep it up, and we'll talk to you next week.
Thank you, everyone, for calling in and listening tonight. We really appreciate it.
We've been KLEAN Radio. Talk to you next Sunday. Have a good week.
Good night.
Are you or someone you care about addicted to drugs or alcohol? Addiction ruins lives and destroys families. Bring an end to the pain and suffering by calling KLEAN Treatment Centers. KLEAN has helped people from around the world break free by not only treating the addiction, but the underlying causes and providing vital aftercare so people can get clean and stay clean with no gimmicks and no false promises. If you need immediate assistance or just have questions, call KLEAN Treatment Centers for guidance. A much better life awaits.